Hi, my name is Ethan Parker. I'm just a regular kid from Amarillo, Texas. I love baseball, video games, and hanging out with my dog, Milo. But something happened to me that changed my life forever. I died. At 9 years old, I left my body and found myself somewhere no child or anyone should ever see. I went to hell. I know how that sounds. I wouldn't have believed it either, but I'm telling you the truth. I saw things I can't forget, and Jesus himself came to rescue me. If you're watching this, it's not by accident. He gave me a message for you, and what I saw down there, it wasn't just fire and screams. It was a warning. Before I tell you everything, please, like this video and leave a comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. I believe you're here for a reason, because the things I'm about to share, they will shake you. Let me take you back to where it all started. I was just a regular boy. My name's Ethan Parker, born and raised in Amarillo, Texas. I lived in a modest home with my mom, dad, and little sister, Emily. We went to church sometimes, mostly on holidays. I knew about God, but I didn't really know him. I was 9 years old, loved riding my bike, building Lego sets, and watching superhero movies. If you asked anyone who knew me, they'd say I was cheerful, curious, and maybe a little stubborn. But nothing in my life, nothing prepared me for what was coming. It was an ordinary Saturday. My parents were doing yard work, and I was inside, playing when I started feeling strange. My chest hurt, like something was squeezing it. I called for my mom, but the words barely left my mouth. Then everything went dark. I don't remember hitting the floor. I don't remember being rushed to the hospital. But I do remember what happened next, because that's when the pain ended and the real nightmare began. The day everything changed. It was just another ordinary day. The sky was bright, the grass smelled fresh from the sprinklers, and my mom had just brought home groceries. I remember sitting on the living room floor, building a spaceship with my Lego bricks. Nothing felt unusual until it did. At first, it was like a flutter in my chest, a weird kind of pressure. Then came the dizziness. My vision blurred, and suddenly my ears were filled with a ringing sound so loud it drowned everything out. I tried to stand up, to call for help, but my legs didn't move. Then, silence. Not the kind of silence you hear when a room is quiet. This was empty, as if the whole world had shut off. No sounds, no colors, no time, just a still, heavy nothingness. That's when I felt it. Myself, leaving my body. I didn't walk, I didn't float, I was just pulled. Pulled out of myself, as if someone had grabbed my soul and yanked it through the walls of this world. Everything I knew, my family, my home, my body, was gone in an instant. I remember thinking, where am I going? But no answer came. What I saw. Next is something I can barely put into words. It was the beginning of a descent into something I pray no one watching this video will ever have to experience. Pause for a moment. Have you, or someone you love, ever experienced something strange, something spiritual, something that felt like you were between this world and another? Share your experience in the comments. You're not alone, and your story might help someone else feel less afraid. Are you ready for what happened next? Because now, I'll take you with me on that terrifying descent. The fall, when the soul goes down. The moment I left my body, I knew something was wrong. I wasn't going up. I was being pulled down. There was no tunnel of light, no peaceful music, just darkness. Thick, living darkness that wrapped around me like chains. The deeper I went, the colder I felt inside. But the air around me was hot, burning, suffocating. I tried to scream, but I didn't have a voice. My thoughts were loud, echoing in that black void, but no sound came out of my mouth. Then I started hearing things. At first it was whispers, but not comforting ones. These were angry, mocking, filled with hate. Some of them said my name. Others laughed. One voice hissed, "You don't belong to him." I didn't understand what they meant until I saw it. A dim red glow appeared, far below me, like lava through cracks in a volcano. As I got closer, I could make out shapes, horrible shapes, twisted forms of things that used to be human. And the smell. It wasn't just fire and sulfur. It was despair. The smell of fear. So thick you could almost taste it. It clung to my spirit like oil. Then I landed. Not on ground, but on something. A surface that felt alive, like it pulsed with pain. I looked around, and what I saw will haunt me for the rest of my life. Thousands, millions of souls screaming, clawing, begging. People of all ages. Some looked like children. Others wore rags, chains, or nothing at all. But every single one of them had the same expression: hopelessness. Have you ever had a dream or nightmare so vivid it felt real? Comment below. What's the scariest dream you've ever had? I want to know if any of you have seen things, like I did. What I saw next was worse than anything I could have imagined. And it was only the beginning. Hell is real. Smell, screams, and pain. I wish I could tell you hell is just a symbol, a myth, a warning story to keep kids in line. But I can't. Because I was there, and what I saw, what I felt, was more real than anything in this world. The moment I landed, I was overwhelmed. The smell was the first thing. A mix of burning, flesh, rotting meat, and sulfur. It hit me like a wall, forcing me to gag, even though I didn't have a body in the physical sense. The pain wasn't just around me. It was inside me. It felt like my very soul was being pierced, over and over again. And the sounds. Oh God, the sounds, screams. Not just loud, but endless. As if every voice had been crying out for centuries, with no rest, no relief. I could hear languages I didn't understand, but the pain behind them needed no translation. Everywhere I turned, I saw people, souls, burning but never consumed, twisted in shapes no body should take. Some tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Others begged for mercy, for water, for death. But the worst part, no one was listening. There were creatures there. I don't know what to call them. Demons, maybe. Shadows with teeth, smiling, snarling, mocking. They moved through the crowd of suffering, tormenting, laughing. One came near me. Its eyes were like black fire. It said, "He doesn't want you. You belong to us now." I tried to scream back, "No, I don't." But my voice was gone. And I believed them. For a moment, I believed there was no hope. Take a deep breath. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt hopeless? Like no one was listening, even when you cried out? You're not alone. And what happened next in my story changed everything. Because just when I thought I was lost forever, he came. The screams that never stop time doesn't work the same in hell. There are no clocks, no sunrises, no nights, just endless. You feel like you've been there forever, even if it's been minutes. That's how it was for me. I don't know how long I was there. Maybe an hour, maybe 1,000 years. All I know is that I couldn't take it anymore. The screams never stopped. They echoed from every direction, overlapping like a tidal wave of agony. Men, women, children. Some screamed out names. Mom! Jesus. Others screamed for forgiveness. But the saddest ones? The ones who had already given up. They just whispered, or sat in silence, rocking back and forth in their torment, like they had forgotten what hope even meant. And the demons, they enjoyed it. They fed off the pain. One of them laughed every time someone cried for God. Another mimicked their screams like a cruel joke. Then I saw something that broke me. It was a boy, maybe younger than me. He was curled up, shaking, his eyes wide open but empty. I tried to reach him. I don't even know why. I just didn't want him to be alone. But the moment I moved toward him, something grabbed me from behind. Not with hands, with hatred, a cold, heavy presence that dragged me backward, laughing in my ears. That's when I felt it. I didn't belong here, but I also didn't belong anywhere else. And in that moment, I stopped fighting. I was ready to give up. I thought, this was it, that I'd be one more soul, just another scream, lost in the fire. Please stop and think with me for a second. Have you ever been in a place, emotionally or spiritually, where you felt like giving up? Share it in the comments. Don't be afraid. Sometimes bringing it into the light is the first step to healing. Because just when I gave up, a light appeared, the appearance of Jesus. At the exact moment I gave up, when I truly believed I was doomed forever, it happened. A light, blinding, pure, alive. It didn't come gradually. It burst into that place like a thunderclap made of glory. The shadows shrieked and scattered like insects under a sudden flame. The demons hissed and fled, covering their eyes, howling in hatred and fear. And then I saw him. Jesus. I didn't see a man in robes with a soft glow. I saw the King of Kings, blazing with power and love. His eyes were like fire, but not the kind that burns. It was the kind that sees through everything and still chooses to love you. He walked through the chaos without fear. The flames bowed at his feet. The ground trembled in reverence. The cries of the damned paused, just for a moment, as if hell itself knew who had just entered. And then, he looked at me. Just one look. Suddenly, everything else faded away. The fear, the pain, the guilt. It was like he wrapped me in a warmth that went beyond skin or bone. A love so strong, I could barely contain it. I tried to speak, but I just wept. I had no words, just shame. And yet, he smiled. He reached out his hand and said, "You are not forgotten." With those 4 words, the chains I didn't even know were wrapped around me shattered. I fell to my knees, sobbing, not from fear, but from relief, from hope. Then he knelt down, cupped my face in his hands, and said something I'll never forget. "I have work for you to do. You must go back." Have you ever felt Jesus near you? Maybe in a dream, in prayer, or in a moment when you needed him most? Share your encounter in the comments below. Your story may inspire someone who feels alone right now. He, didn't just save me from hell. He gave me a purpose. And that leads to what happened next. The supernatural rescue. The moment Jesus touched me, everything changed. I didn't feel weightless. I felt free, like something heavy, something I didn't even realize I was carrying, had been lifted off my soul. He took my hand, and as he stood, I rose with him. Around us, hell trembled. The ground split and cracked beneath his feet, as if the very foundation of that cursed place couldn't bear his presence. The screams returned, but this time they weren't directed at me. They were directed at him. The demons raged in fury. Some tried to come closer, but they couldn't. His light was too much for them. They screeched and melted back into the shadows. Then, as he held my hand, I saw something incredible. Everywhere he walked, light remained, like footprints made of glory. It was as if, even in hell, wherever Jesus stepped, he left hope behind. He began to lead me upward. But this time, I wasn't being pulled. I was being carried. His strength wrapped around me like armor, shielding me from every evil stare, every voice of accusation, every lie I had heard. I looked back once. I don't know why. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe sorrow, and I heard him whisper, "Don't look back. That is not your home." We rose higher. The flames dimmed, the screams faded, and then, just like that, I was gone. I felt a snap, like being pulled through a curtain. And the next thing I knew, I woke up in a hospital bed, surrounded by doctors and nurses gasping in disbelief. My mom was crying. My dad had fallen to his knees. A machine was beeping like crazy. One of the nurses yelled, "We've got a pulse!" And me, I had just come back from the dead. If Jesus has ever rescued you from depression, from addiction, from darkness, will you write "He rescued me" in the comments? Let's fill this comment section with testimonies. Someone out there is hanging on by a thread. They need to see that Jesus is still saving lives. But Jesus didn't bring me back just to survive. He brought me back with a message. The message, He brought me back. With as I lay in that hospital bed, barely able to speak, I felt a weight in my chest. But not a bad one. It was the weight of something important. Something eternal. The message Jesus gave me wasn't long, but it was powerful. And it wasn't just for me. It was for all of us. He said, "Tell them I'm coming soon. Tell them I'm real. Tell them hell is real. And tell them I still love them." That's it. That's the message. Simple, direct, full of urgency, and it hasn't left me since. I hear it when I wake up. I hear it when I try to fall asleep. I see it in the eyes of people walking down the street, people scrolling through their phones, people trying to fill the emptiness inside with things that will never satisfy. I came back different. I wasn't just a kid anymore. I was someone carrying a warning and a promise. Hell is real. Jesus is real. And there's still time to turn. Around, but not forever. The door won't stay open for long. So I started telling people, at school, at church, online, anywhere someone would listen. And even when they laughed or rolled their eyes, I remembered what I saw, and I wouldn't stay silent because someone out there is like I was, close to the edge, thinking they have time, not knowing that eternity is one heartbeat away. Do you feel like this message was for you? Comment, "I hear you, Jesus," if your heart is being stirred right now. Don't ignore that feeling. That's not emotion. That's the Holy Spirit calling you back. I didn't choose to die, but I know now. I was chosen to return. The return to life coming back wasn't peaceful. It was violent. When I left hell, it felt like my soul was being ripped back into my body, like lightning crashing through my chest. I gasped so hard, my lungs burned. My eyes flew open. Light filled the room. I was surrounded. Doctors were shouting. Nurses were frozen. My mom had her hands over her mouth. My dad dropped his coffee on the floor. The heart monitor screamed with, "Life." One of the nurses actually whispered, "That's impossible." They had already pronounced me clinically dead. No heartbeat, no brain activity, for over 4 minutes. But here I was, alive. I looked around, blinking, barely able to process anything. And then I spoke. I'll never forget what I said. It wasn't planned. It just came out of my mouth like fire bursting from my spirit. Jesus is real, and hell is real too. The room went silent. The nurse closest to me burst into tears. My mom dropped to her knees and began to pray right there on the floor. The doctor stood with his mouth open, whispering something under his breath. No one knew what to do, because what they were witnessing wasn't medical. It was miraculous. From that day on, I wasn't the same. I couldn't be. You don't walk through fire and meet the Son of God and come back unchanged. My heart was full of urgency. Not fear, urgency, because I knew the truth. I had seen it. Heaven is real. Hell is real. And eternity is a decision that must be made now. Have you ever experienced something unexplainable? Something that made you believe there's more to this life than what we see? Drop a yes in the comments if you've ever had a moment that made you question reality. Or tell me your story. Someone reading might need exactly what you have to say. But the message doesn't stop here. Because what Jesus showed me next was meant for you. Before Jesus brought me back, he showed me something. He held me close, like a shepherd carrying a wounded lamb. And in that embrace, I felt him speak, not with words, but directly into my soul. He showed me 2 doors. One was full of light, radiating peace, music, joy beyond description. That was heaven. And the other, it was the same darkness I had just been pulled from. Hell. But here's what shook me the most. More people were walking toward the wrong door. Some were smiling, laughing, distracted by things in their hands. Phones, money, fame. Others looked empty, numb, following the crowd, and very few were walking toward the light. Jesus said, so many choose what's easy, not what's eternal. He showed me churches where people were asleep, preachers watering down truth, people claiming to know him, but their hearts were far away. He wept as he said, they honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Heaven is ready. The gates are open. The angels are preparing. But hell is ready too, and it's swallowing thousands every single day. He looked at me, his eyes full of both sorrow and power, and said, warn them, speak it loud. Time is short. That's why I'm here. That's why you're watching. This video isn't just a story, it's a summons, a call, a final knock before the door closes. You don't have to go where I went. You don't have to wait until it's too late. Jesus is real. His arms are open, but the choice is yours. If you're ready to surrender, to stop running, to give your heart to Jesus, don't wait. Comment, I choose Jesus below. Even if you failed, even if you feel broken, especially if you feel too far gone. You're not. This is your moment. I was just a kid. No title, no ministry, no microphone. But Jesus still chose to show me eternity. He chose to pull me out of hell, not just to save me, but to use me. And now he's choosing you to hear this. Not tomorrow, not someday. Right now. If you're watching this and your heart is pounding, if something inside you is stirring, that's not me. That's not a story. That's the Holy Spirit calling you home. Heaven is real. Hell is real. And the greatest lie the enemy ever told was, you've got time. No, you've got today. Jesus didn't die on a cross just to give us a religion. He died to give us a relationship. He went into the grave to pull us out of darkness. And he rose again so that we could live, not just in eternity, but starting now. Right now, wherever you are. You can say, Jesus, I believe you. I need you. I surrender my life to you. Say it with your heart. Say it with faith. And watch what happens. He's not mad at you. He's not disappointed. He's waiting. This story is a warning. But more than that, it's an invitation to life, to freedom, to Him. If this message touched you, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you love. Comment below if you said yes to Jesus. Let others know they're not alone. Let's wake up the world. Let's rescue souls. Let's answer the call. If this message touched your heart, don't let it stop here. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. And most of all, share this message so more people can be warned, healed, and saved. Because the harvest is coming and time is running out. God bless you. And remember, Jesus is coming soon.